We get a chance to spend a little time with Bill King, as we usually do on these Tuesdays. Always enjoy our time together. Bill, what's up, man?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Life is good. Getting into, I guess before I get you a couple football questions, just kind of want to get your thoughts on this upcoming baseball season. And Phil was kind of saying how it almost feels like an opening game today, even though this is their fifth home game of the year. Who are a couple of the teams, Bill, when you're talking about college baseball that you really like? And when's the last time we've had a college baseball team go back-to-back national championships?
South Carolina, it was around 2011, 2012. I could have the years wrong, but it was Gamecocks. Tennessee's replaced a lot of players, and they have dominated. Now, it's fair to question who they played. They have not played another team with a pulse that could fight back, and they're about to go to Houston and see teams like Oklahoma State, et cetera. We'll find out more about them, but they don't look like they've missed a beat. Probably better in pitching. A&M's right there. They lost the Grahovic kid, though, their second-best player for the season with a shoulder. That was a huge announcement on Monday. That's troublesome. They still have the top player in America on their team, and then Arkansas looked good. LSU lost to Omaha in one game, but Gators look good. Georgia, historically, you could question whether or not they care about baseball. Looks like they care again. And Alabama went down to Jacksonville, and you had some good teams down there and went 3-0.
Yeah, I mean, it's heating up, the SEC. It's kind of the haves and the have-nots when you look around the country, and the SEC definitely have it. And speaking, I think this might be a more normal thing. We didn't get into this much today when Phil was here, but I just wanted to kind of, if you could break this down for me, I think this would be more common as far as Nebraska, Tennessee canceling their home and home. I don't think it behooves you. I don't think it helps you if you're in the SEC or Big Ten to schedule a strong out of conference, because look at Indiana. Look at these teams. If you only have one loss in your conference, I don't think the committee looks at who you played in the non-conference. Maybe I'm wrong, but they're almost like elimination games. This Nebraska, Tennessee, they're canceling, going to play different games. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I would agree, particularly if the SEC adopts a 9-game regular season, intra-college, or intra-league, I should say. That's just too much. And we're also talking about adding a Big Ten SEC game in some kind of agreement for the future, which is unclear. There's just so much that's being talked about. I don't know how you fit it all in, plus an expanded postseason. I think it would not behoove you to be scheduling these games right now. I agree.
There you go. So in soccer, and stay with me a little bit, when you're talking about promotion and relegation, you'll have your first and second team get byes, they get promoted, but then third place, fourth place, fifth place, sixth place, they play a home and home, and they play to see who else is going to go. Do you see that being a play-in game in the SEC and Big Ten, where you're looking at whoever finished fourth place and fifth place, they're playing, that's going to take the place of a championship game, winner goes to the playoff, and that's a way to keep those games if you're looking around the Big Ten, Pac-12. And now the numbers are always, they can be whatever numbers you want to be. It could be the third and the fourth place team playing, whatever numbers you want to make them be. But essentially, that could be the start of that tournament. You see something like that happening?
It's being discussed. And this last year, Tennessee and Ole Miss would have matched up. LSU and Alabama would have matched up in a play-in type situation. Mm-hmm. I believe it would have been Ohio State, Iowa, Illinois, and I'm leaving somebody out. But anyways, those would have been involved in their play-in type situation, with the championship game being Oregon and Penn State, the league championship game. I just think it makes things so busy. I don't know how we could do all this stuff. I don't know how you can add a ninth game in the league and then have play-in games, and then we're expanded to 14 or 16 teams.
Yeah, I'm with you. I was trying to think if they're going to keep that game, because you wouldn't have Penn State, Oregon. They would both be getting into the tournament, one of them getting byes, and you're trying to incorporate into that, because they're playing too much. It seems like they're playing forever for that right. Age group.
Right.
How much will you look at this? The NFL Combine's coming up, and Arkansas has 5 guys that are going to be attending. Now, Landon Jackson, I think he's a no-brainer, top 100 pick. Do you think, is there somebody else on that Arkansas out of those five? You got Andrew Armstrong, Jaquindon Jackson, you got Eric Gregory, and Isaac Tesla. Anybody else in that group that you think could be a top 100 pick?
Don't think so. I will admit, I have not combed through that roster in the last few weeks or something, but I don't know of one that I'm overlooking. I don't watch. I'm such a college guy, but what that means is I'm a college guy only. And once they're gone, I typically couldn't tell you where they're at. I may accidentally see a game where I notice where it plays. I just don't notice. I don't. I stopped watching the NFL probably in the early 90s.
It's almost like the combine. There's just certain numbers you want to get. Like if you're a receiver, you want to run under a 4.6, and as long as you don't go out there and run a 4.87, then it's same with the running back. As long as you can run a 4.58 or better, it's like there's kind of standards that you want to get to. I think Andrew Armstrong, that'd be interesting because I love the way he competes. I love the way he fights, and so it'd be interesting to see what his numbers are. Is there a can't miss prospect like Brock Bowers was last year? Maybe it's Will Campbell from LSU, that tackle. Maybe it's one of these edge rushers. Maybe is Travis Hunter also, Bill? To me, can he be a Honey Badger? If you remember Honey Badger, then and was able to play and do a couple different things. What kind of role do you see Travis Hunter being as well?
He's a cover corner. He's a sticky corner. He's lean. He's not real big. The Honey Badger was a tough guy, tackler, physical. At 5'9", he could get in the box. Totally different body types, totally different descriptions. Both really good, but not similar as far as job responsibility. Hunter is a world-class athlete, as we all could see. Could be a receiver and a corner. He's going to be a corner. He is a sticky corner. I worry about his size. I don't think he's 6 foot. He might be 170 pounds. If you ask me to find a flaw and try really hard, that would be my question.
Yeah, no question. It's durability because the talent is there. We had brought this up yesterday a little bit. I think it was yesterday, but some of these teams doing away with the spring game, and I get your work's done in spring practice. You want to hit, you want to tackle in the spring practices and the spring games for the fans. An exhibition to put on for your alumni, for your donor, however you want to do that day. It's supposed to be for the fans. How do you see this? This is spring ball. Is it going to be done as we know it, or what do you think the next phase of spring practice is?
Spring games could very well be done as we've known it. Now, almost every spring game I watch or attempt to watch is fake football. Anyways, I never believe in the authenticity of the game in the spring. The practices are very important for any number of reasons. We know that. It's almost like conspiracy theory time. A coach like Matt Rule started this, at least publicly, saying we may cancel. We did cancel. And now everybody breathes a sigh of relief, meaning all the head coaches, and they all feel comfortable now because everybody's doing it. That's what it feels like. That game for coaches is a big pain in the neck. And I think they're probably relieved.
Yeah, I remember it being a day where you sign autographs for the fans and you kind of have a script and you go out there and go through it. And if you think last year with Lane Kiffin, I think they went out there with shorts and shells and did their spring game.
They just had a circus or whatever they did out there. Yeah, and you know what? If that's what you want to do, fine. That's just a waste of my time. I remember probably 25, 30 years ago, I was at a spring game, and I remember just thinking solely to myself, why am I here? Mm-hmm. Am I getting anything? And now if I'm a fan, it's different. You just want to see your guys. I understand that. But from my point of view, I want to learn something, and that's not where you're going to get it.
Who I know we like that receiver from Ohio State, but when I'm combing through the SEC and Nussmeier, the quarterback at LSU, he might be my favorite that's returning in conference. And I know there's a lot of talent, but when you're looking around at some Luther Burden's going to be gone, probably the first, second, third receiver taken in the draft. What team do you see that has a couple of these guys that are the best receiving group?
Well, Luther Burden is a first-round talent. There's no doubt about it. Emeka Egbuka, I think you were referring to him. Jeremiah Love is a true freshman, but Egbuka is a borderline first-rounder as well. Those are some good ones. I could be skipping somebody in the SEC. I don't know if there's another receiver in the SEC that is eligible to turn pro that is a first-round type talent. We certainly don't have another tight end anywhere on the planet like Brock Bowers. And that might be a while, if not any time in the distant future, we see another one with his gifts. But, yeah, it's not a big year for receivers, certainly out of the Southeastern Conference. And the best quarterback veteran would be Nussmeier. The guy who's trending the best is probably DJ Lagway down in Florida, who's just a true sophomore coming up. And the sky's the limit. I thought, and I told you guys, that Nico, who's got another year at Tennessee, Iamaleava, would be up there. And I think he's top 10 overall in the country, but I don't think he's top 2 or 3 like I thought, at least not yet.
Well, but before one last thing, then I'll keep it with the quarterbacks, and we'll talk about the Arkansas Razorback quarterback, Taylen Green. What kind of – I think he'll make big jumps having the same offensive coordinator for a whole season where you keep changing. Now, you're going to be losing some receivers and some other things, but as far as being comfortable – I think he'll be more comfortable. I think, Bill, and I'm not, of course I want the Razorbacks to win every single game, but I try to be objective. I think that he can be a top 4 quarterback in the SEC. What are your thoughts kind of on Taylen Green, and what's kind of an expectation for him for next year?
Well, it would be consistency. And you mentioned it, another year. He's got a year under his belt. There's consistency with the play caller and the offensive coordinator. That's big, and you lived it, so you would know that better than anybody. And I think you'll see more consistency out of him. When he's right, he's a very dangerous dual threat. We've all seen that. And this year, you would hope, you would think he takes that step.
BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting in 2025. Whether you're a seasoned fan or a first-time bettor, BetOnline is your ultimate game day companion. With the largest selection of odds on everything from NBA and college basketball to the NHL and UFC, BetOnline continues to be your number one sports betting source. From every three-pointer to hat trick, BetOnline has you covered with odds, stats, and more for every game, every play, and every win. BetOnline, the game starts here.